Yeah.
All right, let's talk Rams. The last remaining undefeated team is undefeated no longer after losing to the Saints last weekend. Rams look to get back on track facing the Seahawks Sunday, even though they took their first L. Head coach Sean McVay believes his team's ready to bounce back.
I think, whether you're playing a great division opponent like Seattle or anybody, what you love about football is whether you win or lose, you don't have too long to be able to dwell on that. You got to be able to, in our situation, learn from it and you move forward. And that's what you love. You couldn't wait to get back to work and kind of put it behind you, but make sure you don't avoid some of the things that we have to do better collectively as a team moving forward if we're going to, achieve the outcomes that we want to be able to consistently get.
All right, CC, what are we expecting from the Rams after they took their first L from the Saints?
If you look at who their division rivals are, like this was going to be a highly contested game, a game with a lot of energy. Seattle has dominated that division. The Rams knew when they came back to L.A., man, this is the team that we have to beat. Carroll, this organization, man, this is the team that we have to, whatever we set up, we got to make sure that it's going to be good against this team because this is who we're going to be going against in the Seahawks. So there's a great deal of respect there. I expect the Rams to be able to bounce back. I think that they'll take that loss in New Orleans and utilize that to go on another winning streak. And I believe that Seattle is the first victim. I believe they're going to spread them out. They're going to make Seattle play nickel-dime defense, hurt them in their secondary, and they're going to try to get off to a fast start. Now, the Rams going to start trying to make people look bad. When you start coming down the stretch, I know that some of the Rams defenders, Marcus Peters, I know he was very upset with some of the stuff that Sean Payton and guys said. So they're going to get an opportunity to be able to go back onto the field. And after being on a long winning streak, the most important game is that next game. Because now, all of a sudden, say they slip up, lose a divisional game. Now, you're talking about home field advantage, other little things like that. Now they're on a 2-game losing streak. So the first 30 minutes, that first half of the football become very important for the Rams, and they have been special when they've played at home.
I know the Seahawks defense has been great because, of course, they have, even though all the personnel changes, top 5 points, top 10 yards, like top 10 pass defense, top 10 third down defense. Because of the Seahawks and Pete Carroll, the defense is going to be great. Despite that, I think the Rams are going to be able to score points. Like the Rams have been able to consistently score points as well as anyone in the league this year other than the Saints and the Chiefs. What I am most interested in watching this game is there have been 2 Rams defenses this year. The Rams defense against the bad quarterbacks and the Rams defense against the good quarterbacks. They have eaten alive the bad quarterbacks on their schedule. And the good quarterbacks on their schedule have eaten them alive. The good quarterbacks on their schedule have thrown 13 touchdowns to 0 picks, have a 120 passer rating. The guys that you would look at through this half of the season that are not on that list, 3 touchdowns to 7 interceptions with a 68 rating. We know where Russell Wilson is. He's already played a game where he was in that good category against them, where he played well against them. I need to see this Rams defense, even without Aqib Talib, now that you've got another week with Dante Fowler in the building, now that Marcus Peters should be a week healthier, even if he's a week more humbled from what happened last week. I need to see this Rams defense have the performance I know they're capable of against a good opponent, a good offensive opponent. I'm not worried about the Rams offense at all. I think because of Todd Gurley, it's going to be one of the most consistent offenses week in, week out in this league. I want to see how the defense does against Russell Wilson.
You mentioned it. Marcus Peters took some issues with what Sean Payton had to say about how that Saints game ended. Do you put most of that loss on the Rams defense? Do you two think that the key to this game is going to come down to what the Rams can do on that side of the ball?
No, because when you go back over the game, the Saints had a tremendous game plan. How Drew Brees is going to get the ball out, how they were going to isolate the linebackers in space. The protection for the Saints was very, very good for Drew Brees. So, no, the Rams had a great opportunity. They came back, got into it.
Yeah.
They really exerted a lot of energy and will get back into the game. And with the game on the line, one of the most critical plays, they had a one-on-one matchup, Michael Thomas versus Marcus Peters in the slot, and Michael Thomas wins that battle. So it was a significant play because of the totality of it. If he was able to get him on the ground, maybe maybe hold them to a field goal there. You can't give up that type of big play. He guessed the wrong way, and that's the reason why the Saints were able to get that margin there at the end. So, no, I don't blame him for it. I like the fact that he stood up for it, didn't make any excuses, and didn't make any excuses as far as injury. There was motion there. There was bad communication between him and his teammates. He wasn't having any of that. He told the reporter, man, miss me with that. It's my responsibility. So that part right there, Jenna, was very refreshing.
But for Marcus Peters, this second half of the season is very important for him. He's a guy who wants a new contract. He's a guy who's playing for his first real money in the NFL. He's also a guy that, because of the way he exited Kansas City, because of some of the outward, what people would call political statements he's made, and because he is a boom or bust player, he will make a lot of huge plays. He's still, since he came into the league, is top 3 in the NFL in turnovers forced, but he gives up big plays. For any of those reasons, there are certain teams that are already, I don't know if he'd be on our free agent list. Like, for him, it's very important that the second half of this season, he reminds people the player that was an all-pro in Kansas City. Because thus far, even prior to last week's game in Los Angeles this year, he hasn't been playing at that level. Now, there hadn't been a game where he got annihilated like this past week, but he hadn't been playing like one of their big off-season acquisitions that they thought he was.
Yeah, I still think he's an elite player, and I believe he's going to get paid handsomely in free agency. I believe there's more teams out there who would take that personality and disposition. Outwardly, they say that, but at the end of the day, man, it's about getting some horses. Okay.
All right, got to take a break. Coming up, former All-Pro wide receiver Herman Moore joins
And let's mention horses.
Next on First Things First.
Welcome, man.
Hey, man.
Good seeing you, baby.
Good to see you, buddy.
Welcome to New York.
Good to see you. Yeah.